Good morning, my viewers. Good afternoon, wherever you may be all over the world. Today we'll be talking about probability, and this aspect of probability is just the basic aspect. We are looking at the basic aspects of probability. In summary, based on what this page is trying to let us know, is that probability of a likely event to happen falls between 0 and 1. Falls between 0 and 1. Let's take for instance, it's either the probability of something does not happen, which is 0, or the probability of such event happens, which is 1, or certainly it will happen. That falls, that makes it to be 1, meaning there's every chances that such events is likely to be is is likely to happen. And again, in probability questions, your answers may be either in fraction, decimal, or percentages. It doesn't matter as long as the answers are in either fraction, decimals, and percentage, you are good to go. So let's take, for instance, these examples shown on the slide here. The first one is, what is the probability that mice will overtake humans and become Earth's dominant species? That is definitely impossible. Jokingly, what I do tell my learners is, if we could, as humans, we could survive the COVID period, there's nothing we cannot survive. So, therefore, the chances that mice will take over the earth is never possible. It cannot be possible. As such, it's 0. You can see it here. It falls under 0 or 0%. Now, you can see the certainty. It said, what is the probability that it will rain in the UK this year? Definitely, even as at yesterday, it rained. So it's certain. Therefore, the probability that rain will fall this year is 1, meaning it's certain. Now we look at the middle side. We need to create a balance. So the next question is saying, what is the probability that the next baby born will be a girl? It is a 50-50 scenario. It's either any baby born, it's either a male or a female. So the probability is 50-50, or it's half, or 0.5, as stated here. Then in between 0 and 0.5, we have the unlikely events. So, for instance, what is the probability that the Thames will freeze over? So it is unlikely. For those in the UK will understand the River Thames. So it is unlikely. As such, it is 0.5. Sorry. As such, it is 0.25 or 25%. Or better still, is 1/4. Now we look at the other aspect of probability. The question here says, what is the probability that you will run out of toilet paper when you need it most? It is likely, because it is possible that, let's take for instance, there are situations where in the course of teaching, if I need something to clean the board, we call that duster. I notice that when I need it most, I don't always see it. So I have to start looking around, searching for it. So in other words, the probability that you run out of toilet paper when you need it most, it is likely. So it is either 75% or zero point 0.5 or three quarters. Remember, probability questions can be either in fraction form, decimal form, or in percentage. In summary, this is what we call the probability scale. The entire scale here is known as your probability scale. Probability scale. Remember, this is the most basic aspect of probability. We call this entire scale probability scale. With this introduction, it is with this introduction, this will usher us in looking at questions, the basic aspect of questions related to probability. So let's move on to the next slide and see what we have as our class activity. We'll look at this first question, and I will encourage my learners to have a go at this other question, at least just to see how it goes. And once they've done this other question, we'll move to the answer slide to cross check if they are getting it right. So let's start from the beginning. The first question says, which color in the arrow most likely to land on? Which color is the arrow most likely to land on? You can see the yellow has much space, unlike the blue. So imagine you spinning this arrow. Definitely, there's every high chance that it will fall in the yellow space because the yellow has so many portion. Put in other way, let's say the blue chances is just one. So you can either divide it this way too. So the blue has only one chance compared to the yellow. The yellow has one, two, three. So the blue has just one out of four chances, while yellow has three out of four chances. So imagine one, two, three, four. You imagine you dividing the cycle into four equal parts. I can see blue has only one chance, which is one out of four, unlike the yellow has three chances. This is one, two, three. Therefore, without being told, without with every possibility looking at this diagram, you notice that definitely if you spin this arrow, it will fall in yellow. So that will be yellow. The next question says, mark the scale mark the scale with an arrow to show the probability of landing on a green. From this question, let me clean this so that we can have space. Mark the scale with an arrow to show the probability of landing on green. we can see on this, there's no space for green. We only have blue and yellow. Therefore, the probability of landing on a green is not possible because green was not given initially. Therefore, it's not possible. So your arrow will fall here. Let me make it accurate. To fall on zero because it's not possible. Again, because green has no space inside the circle. Once you've done this, you can now move to the answer slide to check. And I encourage my viewers or learners to have a go on this. As stated earlier, this is the most basic aspect of probability. See, we are correct and we are correct. So let's see if we have other class activity. As usual, we look at as usual, we'll look at question number 5, and we want our learners to have a go to have a go at this question number 6 and move on to the answer slide to cross check. And Mail makes a first spinner with 6 sectors. You can see it here. Use a word from the box which best describes the probability of each of the following events. The spinner will land on 6. The spinner will land on 6. From the spinner, we can see that it has no space for number 6. As such, it would be impossible. Yeah, it will be impossible. Remember, this is the most basic aspect of it. It is expected that most viewers or learners will be able to appreciate this topic. Once it's been appreciated, once it's been appreciated, that will help us figure out so many other questions. Then the next one is the spinner will land on a 3. We can see the spinner will land on a 3. So let's imagine how many spaces do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The spinner has 6 sectors, that's 6. And 3, the spinner will land on a 3. How many 3s do we have here? 1, 2, 3. So 3 divided by 6 is the same thing as half. And half is the same thing as 0.5. 0.5 is the same thing as 50%. Therefore, in a worded form, this falls within the evens. The spinner will land on the 3 is evens. The next question is the spinner will land on a 2. The spinner will land on 2. So we have 6 spaces out of 2, 1. 2 appeared only one time. So this is the same thing as if you look at the probability scale, 1 over 6 falls within impossible and the 50-50, which is evens. So the space will be unlikely. So using the worded form, that would definitely be unlikely. Unlikely will be here. Unlikely. The last question. The spinner will land on a number greater than 1. The spinner will land on a number greater than 1. The spinner will land on a number greater than 1. You can see all the numbers in these six sectors are all greater than 1. So definitely this will be certain. Is certain. As stated earlier, this is the most basic aspect of probability. In other words, this is just like the introduction of probability, which is expected that learners or viewers should have a go at it, go through it, so as to deepen their knowledge on probability questions. And once you've gone through these exercises, you can now move to the answer slide to cross check. And once you've done that, this will help you to deepen your knowledge on probability. Remember, every mark is important in terms of examination situations. I've seen where a 1 mark can either make or mar one's success in exams. So I will encourage my viewers or learners to have a go, practice this so as to deepen their knowledge on probability. And we'll look at more advanced questions on probability in the next sessions. Thank you very much. Thank you. And this is your regular host, Valentine. Bye and see you in the next session.